Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So here we are closing in on a new season, and what colors are in for your home, your office, all of that. I mean, right away, I think, fall, orange, browns, yellows, but not so much, not so much. There's a lot going on out there that we're not even aware of. And once you're open to a little bit of color change, poof, what a difference that makes in your home. A lot of times, not that expensive to change up the colors, depending on what you're working on. She's got all of this in her wheelhouse. Rise Interiors is her company. She's an amazing interior designer. She is also our professional of the year. Mary Jo Major is back. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
I learned so much. And like I share it with other people. I have two friends that just moved.
Oh, really? That's
And-
awesome.
yeah. And
Congratulations to
I'm
them.
actually going
Yeah.
to see them tonight. Not even kidding. So now I'm wondering, what do I tell them in terms of what's trending with colors now? Um, I think a lot of people are afraid to go with a trend because they're kind of pigeonholed into something. But these color trends, these interior design trends, they last a pretty long time, right?
They do. They do. And I would also say that trends that you don't like, don't do. Don't feel, forced to. It's just like in fashion, there are times when you see something on someone and you know it's in, but you're like, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
So the same goes for interiors, is there's things out there that are really beautiful and really cool, but they may not be for you. So yeah, pick and choose. You have the choice. This isn't, you have to choose it all, but I do think that there's some really great ones that are around right now.
I'm a firm believer in you always know the answer. We all know the answer. We all know what we like, but
Yes.
sometimes we don't know that we know what we like until we
Yes.
see it. Because, if you
Yes.
tell me, a certain color is in, Chesterfield buff, and you're gonna love this color. It's great. I wouldn't even know that yellow is in or whatever until I see it, and then I'm like, oh, I like that. So that's where an interior designer comes in to show you, so you can apply it to your life, and then it resonates within. Does that happen to you? Like when you see different things, trends,
hmm
colors,
hmm
styles, do
hmm
you personally, do you feel it inside? Like, yeah, that's me. It's moving my interior needle, I guess. Like
Yes.
I'm feeling it.
Yes. I, as a creative, I'm always stimulated by things that I see. So yes, there are times where something kind of makes me go, huh, do I like that for me? I'm usually, for example, I'm usually a bright, lots of colors. My happy colors are like deep kind of olive greens, kind of more of a saturated blue, and then kind of like neon pinks, which kind of sounds weird, but those are my happy colors. And so there are times when I do see other things out there that I immediately am, there's a part of me that goes, actually, I like that, but what does that go with what I have? And so
Mm.
I do think that in right amounts, a lot of colors can go with the things you have. It's just a matter of kind of the balance. So, for example, I love this idea of like chocolate brown. That's kind of a big uh, color in the world right now, like any sort of earthy tone. And I've been thinking about, okay, what are ways that I can maybe incorporate that a little bit in my own home? And it might look like wood. It might not look like an actual color, so anyway, that kind of thing. You have to kind of play around with the options.
Right away, when I hear that color, chocolate brown, you said,
Yeah.
it's not that I don't like it, but right away I get a muddy look in my mind. And it's
Yeah.
like, what are we gonna do with that?
What do we do with this one?
Right.
Yes, I know. So I would say one of the biggest color trends right now, Steve, is these more earthy tones, right? So people are kind of wanting to bring this blur between the outside and the inside. So when you look around your home and you have these windows, the colors from the outside are kind of reflected a little bit on the inside. So
Hmm.
we talked about it a little bit the other week, but instead of kind of cooler grays, moving towards more tans, khakis, the chocolate brown, all, muted greens, those kind of warm, kind of earthy colors. And I think I would say that one of the biggest trends, if you want to call it that, this season or this year is more of like a mood, having something that feels like a kind of a warm hug in your home.
Wow.
So kind of this moodiness, this atmosphere of kind of like that comfy, cozy, almost I wouldn't call it like a safety, but like you feel like home is safe, in like a warm hug way of color.
It's
So
almost like comfort food.
yes.
You gravitate toward the mac and cheese. It's probably a color.
I I love that you just said that. I went to a barbecue this past weekend and I had a friend who was she was in charge of that side dish and there was a lot of people coming. She's like, "Oh, kids just eat this." And I said, you'd be surprised." I said, "Kids are not the only ones who love mac and cheese." So, yes, I would say that about these colors is that, again, coming from my own personal home, I like brighter colors, but I do feel like these colors, these warmer tones are are a yeah, they feel like a weird sort of yeah, like safety net in my own, like how can I incorporate like the khaki color maybe with pink. That's an example of like a color combo that I might think about, like on a pillow or
Hmm.
in some sort of, in a wall color if I'm thinking about redoing like a bathroom.
So I want to go back to what you said, how with interior design, there's always something that ties it in.
Yes.
So you got a room with a window and a beautiful view of trees and maybe
Mhm.
mountain or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
So
you're
then
lucky.
if you
You
have
have your
that,
mountain out your window. Yeah.
I don't know that. I do have a monument. We do have, yeah, you can
Okay.
see it's kind of cool. It's like a pyramid monument. It's like
Oh yeah.
300 feet tall and it's got an American flag on it. So you can see that out of the corner. So
Okay.
that's my mountain.
Okay, great. That
Although
works.
I do live on what could be a mountain. It's like the highest point of this area.
Oh,
Anyway, um, it would tie in the chocolate brown to that. That's what I'm getting from you. Like you would have that view outside and then you kind of duplicate it inside. What
hmm
if you open your window and it's a cityscape? It's
right.
buildings, metal, it's glass. Would you still do the chocolate brown? Like it wouldn't, I don't know.
Again, it depends on what you like. Remember, it depends on what you like. And yes, I agree with you. I have like some alleyways. I live in DC, right? So I'm around some more urban scenes as well. So that might be something where it's kind of a little bit of a smaller amount, if you will, if you're going to go with this kind of more earthy tone trend. So
Okay.
it's probably not everywhere. It may just be in like a couple little things. You may play it more of those creams and those kind of more lighter colors to kind of offset all the concrete outside or, the dark skyscrapers or the
Gotcha.
monument.
Yep.
So, or you play up the greens. But, I was going to mention the next color trend that I've been noticing is there is, in line with kind of these more earthy tones, more bold colors. So maybe that's more of kind of instead of going earthy, maybe you pick up on something um like there's these really saturated purples right now. I think we talked about that before. But like eggplants or plums,
Hmm.
or I would even say like the like a orangey marigold color. I don't know if like a deep, rich
Okay.
kind of like orange hue, or the other ones that I've been seeing are, yeah, in the green family. So dark teals, olives, olive colors. Um, and some of those even I would say read as kind of a neutral, those green colors, if you want them to be. So that's
Hmm.
yeah.
What about black?
Ooh, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, black is back. It is
Back in black.
yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, more and more people are using black, especially on their walls. Again, going back to that moodiness, that moody vibe, wanting to kind of incorporate something that feels, yeah, I don't want to say the word cave because that has, I think, sometimes negative connotations, but there is this sense that, you know, it is kind of fun to feel like it's just you and it's almost like a quiet space. And I think that color can kind of lend itself to that.
Why psychologically, why do you think that's important now? So I'm just going to say
Yeah.
about 15 years ago, there was a term called cocooning. where it wasn't COVID
Mm,
or anything, obviously, but it
yeah.
was people wanted to be in terms of everything, even purchases, cocoon.
Mm,
Like I just, you want to be in your place and your space
mm.
and all of that. There's a trend um, spotter named Faith Popcorn. It's been around for decades. I don't even know if
Yeah.
she's still around, but her
Okay.
company is.
Okay.
She's up there in age, but she was kind of the one that would identify trends in everything before they even emerged. And that
Wow.
was called cocooning. So it almost sounds like what we're talking about here is you just want to be engulfed in your color and just space and just kind of hugged in color, I guess.
Yes. Yes. And I, it's hard to explain, the psychology behind it because I think it's different for everyone. But I would say that people are, there's this pendulum again swinging from kind of coming out of this isolation we experience as a negative thing from COVID to being around people to also still wanting to feel, yeah, like your home is a haven and like your home, has like it feels special. It doesn't feel like other places. And so having kind of this darker color on the wall does kind of
Hmm.
evoke this sense of place that's maybe a little different. I would also mention that the black trend, I've seen it most in when it's on the walls, it's in smaller spots. So it's in, let's just say, like part of a library or a bath. It's in more of kind of the smaller areas. I have seen kitchens also. I've seen
It
like black kitchens.
seriously?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It's not for everyone, but I have seen, yes, black kitchens and a lot of black kind of marble flooring. Think like on the, tile and fireplace surrounds, that kind of stuff.
I can't even imagine a black kitchen. I just can't.
I know it is it's a little sleeker, it's a little different look than the white trend, but again, for in the right way, it does look cool. It's not for everyone.
I guess it depends on what you surround it with,
Yes.
right?
Yes. What you
Hmm.
surround it with, and it's not just a flat paint. It's not just a, one-dimensional black. There's usually, and especially in kitchens, there are things with reflective surfaces. There are things that kind of come out, right? Think about handles or faucets or other things that kind of help move your eye around the space.
Okay.
So it does, I don't know, it feels almost like you're in kind of like a black sculpture garden instead of just, it just feels like this black emptiness.
I'm seeing it. Like I get what
Okay.
you're talking about because then you
Okay.
could have, let's say, if it's you know, I don't want to say stainless steel, but that type of tone in
Yes.
terms of a faucet. Now you've got something else going on. You have this over here. Your appliances, they don't, I have a air fryer. It's black. Well, I might not buy one, because of the one more black thing. So
Right.
buy something. Depends on how you work it. So
Right.
your kitchen walls are black. What are your
Yes.
cabinets going to be?
Black.
Get out. Seriously?
Yes, I haven't seen this done a lot. See, remember, this isn't for everyone. So yes, when I've seen it done, and I would say done well, they kind of go all in. They kind of jump in the deep end, but they do it in a way that feels still really sophisticated. So the tile might look like this handmade tile or have some sort of sheen to it with a different cool shape. And the countertop might be a different kind of surface. Maybe it's soap, so maybe it's, it has some sort of texture to it. It's not just like a shiny kind of slab. So it's these different
Uh,
plays on textures. It's similar to having a all white bedroom, but everything in the bedroom, every texture and every element is different. It's not just the same. So the bed might have something fluffy. The nightstands might be maybe distressed. The flooring might be really like soft, but tailored looking. So even though it's all the same color, it all looks kind of different. And the same goes for a black kitchen.
okay. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's a
Right.
harder sell, you know.
Yes, it is.
And how do you even bring that up to a client? Hey, by the way, let's make everything black in your kitchen.
Most of the time, they, when it's comes to a client's preferences, they're already in that camp. So you just kind of guide them the right way. So it a lot of times
Okay.
designers will, yeah, will kind of take what a client is already into and just kind of make it even, I guess, the best version of itself. So I would say someone who's just really into black and who's like, I would love a black kitchen. That designer says, okay, well, we're going to take it to the next level, but we're going to make sure it looks really good
I
and
got you.
make sure it all blends together well.
Yeah, they're already feeling it, and you're just you're feeding it. I guess that's the
Exactly,
best way.
exactly. This isn't
Uh,
coming out of left field where someone wants a blue and white kitchen and you're gonna slap them with black. This is a, okay, you're already going this way? Great. Let's
right.
do
Yeah.
it.
It's almost as if, oh, that's what you want. I
That's what
got
you
I,
want?
I got something
Yeah,
for you.
right,
Okay.
right. Let's run with it. So, yeah, I
So,
mean, yeah, I think that's the best part about being a designer, really, is you kind of take what someone likes and just make it the best version.
um, what uh, what about pink?
Oh, yeah. All right. So, pink, a few years ago, I would say kind of came on the scene, and it was when people think of pink interiors, most of the time they think about kind of more of the girly pink. And the pink that I would say is really like cool now is, oh, I would say like a pink that has more brown undertones or more like a mauve, if you will. So like or a desert pink. So it's almost reading, it's not a neutral, but it's becoming more of an acceptable color instead of, oh, you have pink in your house. It's becoming almost like a different version of like an orange or red that you might see.
Trying to get a picture of that, like an orange.
So so imagine you have let's just say a rug that has, or a piece of art that has some flowers in it, and you have, a sofa. I'm just trying to, this is coming off the top of my head, and a sofa, and you're trying to figure out what you can pull out of this artwork. This might be an example of a color you can kind of pull out, is more of this mauve. It's almost like an earth tone pink, if you will. So it might be something
Hmm.
you see in the Grand Canyon or another kind of natural pink, but it's, yeah. So it's not as bright and sugary. It's more sophisticated and a little richer.
Like your nails.
Right. Kind of. This is not an example.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Well,
Think I'm referring to.
and I love them, but as soon as you say pink, that's what I got.
Yes. Yes.
So
Well, yes, Barbie was in. That was a trend. That was real. That was a real trend. Barbie pink, that was a real thing. This year, I would say it's not necessarily Barbie pink. It is more of like yeah, a subtle, much more subtle pink. The
like,
mauves.
yeah, mauve. I was gonna just say that. I'm thinking it mauve with on the side of pink
Yes. Yes.
instead of on the side of purple or brown. Let's
Right.
just like the nails here over here on the pink side. This is your nails. This is all
That's
the way over
right. No,
here.
my nails are maybe over here, even more,
All
even
right,
more.
like my wall.
That's
Uh,
right. They're more out of the Crayola box,
gotcha,
which,
gotcha.
yeah, no, this is, yes, we're talking something that is a little bit more emphasis, something you might see in nature.
So weirdly, when you said crayon box,
Yeah.
Crayola is now creating fragrances based on their colors.
Are you serious? That's so interesting.
100%. Yeah.
Are they so when I also think of Crayola and colors like perfumes, I can't help but think about the smelly markers or how each each marker is a different a fruit or
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah. I
candy
remember
or
those. Yeah, yeah,
something.
totally, totally.
So I can't help but think of pink as cotton candy. Is the fragrances like something that we would actually want and not
There,
just like the fruit?
it's earthy tones.
Okay.
Just what we're talking about, just
Okay.
like the trend. So, Mary Jo, your burnt sienna smells so good.
So I mean, yeah, I'll have to go look this up. I mean,
It's a legit. It just came out.
okay.
Maybe I read it yesterday,
Wow.
but it's a real thing. But they're serious about it. I get the cotton candy thing, okay, but no, they're launching fragrances based on some of their colors. Not all of them,
Huh.
but definitely there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm so used to Crayola being like a children, like a children's, art supply. Maybe they're just trying to bridge into a new market, or I don't know. I'm gonna go check this out.
But great memory there. I totally forgot about about the smell markers.
The smell markers. I mean, we all loved them. We all loved them until they didn't smell anymore and or they
Right,
dried up.
right.
Um,
But
but
for me, I'll admit it, the Sharpie never gets old. The
right,
smell of a Sharpie, I don't
right.
know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, no, there's something you said, or dry erase markers.
Oh,
You
there's
know,
another one.
it's back to school. I feel like at this time of year when you talk about these kind of fresh supplies, anyways.
Sure. Yeah. What is the
Yeah.
most unusual color or color combo that a client has asked for?
Oh man. Let me think. Well, I wouldn't say some of them is me suggesting more so than them asking.
Okay.
Most of
All
the
right.
time, they
But you
don't have.
wouldn't, now let's just go here.
Okay.
You wouldn't suggest on that unless there was a reason, unless you're feeling it. Like you're not just gonna, a client, you're randomly gonna say hot pink.
I think.
Yeah, there's gonna be a reason that you're gonna suggest it.
Yes, yes, there is. And it's usually something they've actually said out loud. For example, I did have a client that did tell me they loved hot pink, but they didn't have any in their home. So in my head, I'm like, okay, that's great. That means I have a green light to put a hot pink little accent somewhere in here. So yes, most of the time I have some clients that have an idea what they like, but they kind of give me the reins in terms of design vision. So I did have a client. Yeah, she wanted something similar to what we were talking about the other week with color drenching, where this idea of kind of everything feels the same. And so we did like a really pretty kind of yeah, it was like a green gray color. It was actually the color of the year a few years ago. It was called Evergreen Fog by Sherwin-Williams. It's a really nice color.
Huh.
So we did everything that the ceiling, the walls, trim, the doors, all of that.
Wow.
And yeah, and then her, we also, again, it was just kind of based off of the other things she had. I was just kind of feeling it. I was like, speaking of like kind of bold hues, I was like, we need a nice, rich, like color on the wall. And so I found one. And Steve, do not judge, but it was called Grape Juice. That was the name of the color. And
Wow.
but it looks so good. It looks so good. And she trusts me because I've done a few projects with her and it went up and she was like, I love it. And I was like, great. Awesome.
That's awesome. That really is. Like,
Yes.
and grape juice, I have a picture of it. It's almost, it could be what we were talking about before, where we're getting into the mauve. You said that the deep purples, right?
Yes.
The deep plummy
Yes.
purples.
Yes.
Hmm. You,
It's and again, it's like a dark jewel tone, which I think jewel tones are kind of forever timeless and everyone loves them.
hmm.
And so I don't really think it's that far off of what people are kind of familiar with, but it is a tone that hasn't been used in a while. I would say reds and purples are coming back more into interiors, but they were very not popular. I don't know how the word unpopular for a while. So, but they're kind of being reimagined in a different way right now.
You brought back a memory. My last house, which I sold in the last year or so, they redid the entire place. There was a small fire before I bought it, and that was the green light to new sheetrock, brand new kitchen, new siding, everything
Wow.
fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
Great price it was. Taxes were very reasonable. Hot pink was on two of the walls in the bedrooms, and there was a green, like a teal, medium teal green, right away before I did anything. That's getting that. We're changing that. It was just so, I don't know, just in your face. It just didn't,
Yeah.
it was
It-
even too bright for my daughter who was younger at the time. Like it was just
okay.
like, it didn't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, yes, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And you know what? Took a couple of coats
I bet.
to
I
cover
bet you
that
probably
up.
should have used some primer. It sounds like it
I
was,
think I had to, if
you
I
think,
remember correctly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Mm.
hot pink, uh, you know, yes, you have. I feel like I'm okay with using on walls. You just have to have some other stuff maybe to help tone it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yes.
I think my
Yes.
sister back in the day had a hot pink, and that's where
Okay.
I remember that name of that color from her room. But I don't know, maybe it was in back then. How
Yeah.
do we how do we pick your brain, connect with you, get a
Yeah.
consult for somebody looking for a color change or any kind of change?
Sure. Yes, I'm happy to help. You can reach me through my website, which is riseinteriors.co. And yeah, through that you can schedule a time to chat.
If it's a Crayola color, if it's a earth color, if you guys, it's in your wheelhouse. Always great talking with you.
Yes, it was great talking to you too, Steve. This is yeah, I love talking about stuff that gets people excited.
It
You
gets
would
me
probably want
excited.
to.
I don't know why. It's just that, like
It's fun. It's fun.
it
It's fun to
is.
talk about it. Yeah.
And we'll
Yeah,
catch up
it's
next
fun.
time, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.